er ikke glad. Jeg får panikk. Frihet sælger, men hvem shopper? Hej, hej. Jeg er ikke norsk. Dette er mig, Snorkere. Today, I'm in Oslo, and I'm not quite sure what's going on, but there seems to be an awful lot of kerfuffle. But don't worry about that, because today we're looking at a game from Dynamic Games for the Spectrum, from Tim Hartnell, but the game is from Tim Rogers, and it's called, appropriately enough, Norway Panic. Shall we see what it's all about? Oh yes. Let's go back to 1983 and Dynamic Games for the Spectrum. This is Norway Panic by Tim Rogers, and you can see here they barely managed to make up an entire page. It's an absolutely tiny game. Typed in and run, it's only 1K. And here we go. We are the car and we are driving in Norway. And we've already crashed. You're driving in Norway through a series of walls and tunnels, some of them through mountains. You see the walls coming towards you around the bend, and you must steer into the curve as it approaches. You type 5 for left, 8 for right, and get as high a score as you can. There are 9 different positions of the wall as they approach you, and that's done using an array. So teach us how to use an array and how to use data items using standard out-of-the-box Spectrum graphics. Here we are, zooming forwards. When the screen is black, we're in a tunnel. Otherwise, we're in the daylight. And of course, light changes rapidly in Norway. Our score is on the top left, and it just goes up and up and up. As we zoom along at breakneck speed along the side of fjords, through mountains. It's all tremendously exciting. But it's a very, very simple game. But simple does not mean it's not fun. It did not take long to type in. The worst bit was typing in the graphics characters for the bits of the road. And here we've crashed with a score of 289. And just get to go round again. Oh! Hi, hi. Vet du hvor jeg kan få en billig drink? Hvor mye for en halvliter? Du er et skrik! It says once you've mastered the game in its present form, add a high score feature and perhaps a means of changing the speed with which the walls approach you. Here I've done adding a step to the central loop, and I've done this based on how far you've gone. And the further you go, this is your score divided by 250, the faster it gets. So let's see how we're getting on. So moving forward, quite in a fairly good lick, to be honest with you, with little Spectrum beeps. 140, 168. Here we go. The joy of these games is you can just always change them and fiddle with them and try and make them better in any way you can. But it suggests a way of doing it to start off with. And you can see now we're definitely a lot faster. I can still just about keep up though, because I'm a pro gamer. I have my 1 credit classic badges on, and I need them for this game, because it's getting fast already. As the step increases, you get less and less chance to react, to move the road back to the middle of the screen. Because your car itself doesn't move, you're really just moving the road. But it works quite effectively. Now to over 500, and I've blown up. No sound for the explosion, but a new high score for 507. A nice attractive flashing there. That's what you want. Encourage you to give it another go. Jag ska backa till Stockholm. This is the improved snorkified version, or at least my first attempt at it. And with these typing games, I always like to give them a little loading screen. There's no real point for a loading screen because the game is absolutely tiny, so it'll load in about under a minute anyway. So adding a loading screen actually increases the load time considerably. But I've created a loading screen. And what would you have for Norway Panic? But of course the Norwegian flag. Now fortunately I've done some research, and the Norwegian flag has very strict and very easy to follow proportions. So the square at the top left is 6 by 6. The cross is a certain position. The whole flag is 16 deep by 22 wide, and you have a white border around a dark blue. Thin cross. That's a darker blue than you get on the spectrum. That's actually a dithered spectrum between black and blue in a custom character. We've got the nice flashing of Norway Panic, nice and make you really nervous, and it is by Tim Rogers, so shout out to Tim Rogers. He also did another game in this book called 3D Drive, which is also quite interesting. So it loads quickly. I'm not using the Jonathan Caldwell poke. In fact, I print ink 0, paper 0 at line 20, and it just about works. And here we start. I've changed the sound. We also get a sound for explosion, and it says at the end, you reach Oslo. I decided it's a driving game, the number's going up, so you're going from somewhere to somewhere, starting from Oslo. And now at New High School, we've reached Lillestrøm, and Lillestrøm, the O is a UDG, because certain Norwegian characters have accents through them, and one of them is the O. Not all O's, just some of them. The clicky sound is done by using the spectrum out function, which is a replacement from the beep, because it gives us more of I was trying to get sort of an engine running sort of sound. It mostly works. The problem is, as you get faster, we start skipping some of the instructions. The idea is on odd numbers we open it, on even numbers we close it. And the instruction here is a bit fiddly because the out instruction also controls the border. And I want to keep the border here. I've reached Ringebu. 217 kilometres from Oslo, and I've reached Ringebu.
Da jeg så ut. Kanskje alkohol billig I Finnmark? Jeg må til Kirkenes.
I've now added actual instructions and something of a plot. You've got to drive your car from Oslo all the way to Kirkenes in Finnmark to escape the Norway Panic. Press 5 to steer left, press 8 to steer right. What is the Norway Panic? We don't know. Perhaps you're escaping a very high bar bill. Perhaps you're evacuating the Norwegian gold reserves, which happened in 1940. Good read that. I ate at a restaurant where they kept him safe in Lillehammer for 10 days, guided by 4 guys from the local rifle club. But this is our plot, and off we go. And I've added some more UDGs. The car at the bottom now has tyres. We got as far as Lillestrøm, 37 kilometres, which is between the airport and Oslo. Lillehammer is beyond. So as you steer, the wheels turn left and right or go straight on. And to make things a bit more interesting as you go forward, the last town you pass is at the top of the screen. So far we've only got as far as Lillestrøm. Oh, now I've got as far as Sagmoen. And I did this by going through Google Maps and plotting various towns at distances of about 30 or 40 kilometres at a time. We now got up to Lillehammer, home of a very good Netflix series with Stephen Van Zandt. To get through Lillehammer is absolutely lovely, by the way. I highly recommend going there in the winter. We went there, it was a foot of snow. Now I got to Ringebu, 217. Now, if you're wondering how far Kirkenes is, it's an awfully long way. We could have gone there a bit quicker, but that would involve going through Sweden. And we're not doing that because this is Norway Panic, not Norway and Sweden Panic. I may cover Sweden in future games. I've done Iceland already with Valhalla. This is Norway Panic, though, so we are staying in Norway. We're not cutting through Sweden. We're certainly not cutting through Finland either, which is a bit of more of a problem later on. I had to adjust Google Maps to say, no, not going there. So coming from, we're going through Hjerkinn, now in Oppdal. But the screen is black, it's a tunnel, so I've made the tyres light up so you can see where we're going. And I've replaced the innermost hash with the power of symbol. The idea being that it's like the mascot in the front of the car. Now I've got through Levanger. Now, because it does get faster as you go forwards. Every 250 kilometres, the step increases slightly, not too aggressively. Otherwise, once it gets to step 2, it gets very difficult. Now it's known. But it's for a very simple game, and it's absolutely tiny to type in. It's about a page of shown in the book. It's surprisingly good fun. All I've redone, I've changed the sounds a bit, added a couple of UDGs, and because it's Norway Panic, made it more Norwegian with a list of Norwegian towns. This is Namsskogan. We've got past Namsskogan. Now this is Majavatn. 858 kilometres. Now it's in Trofors. You will find some towns you might recognise. A lot of these are just small towns on the way. Otherwise you go, oh, how far is between towns? Oh, 400 kilometres. We'll keep heading further and further north. Neverness, which could be a Neil Gaiman book. Now it's Dunderland, which this could be a dodgy theme park. We've now crossed the Arctic Circle. This is Polar Cirkelen, which is a town on the Arctic Circle. Now in Nordness, it's getting cold up here. Good old Nordness. 1174, Fauske, and we just keep on driving. When you get to the end, you do actually get a winning screen if you ever get that far. Halfway there, by the way. So this is not a quick journey. Norway is very big. Inhabit. And it only gets faster and faster. And I've crashed the car. Unfortunately, I got as far as Bogness. So let's show you what will happen if you do actually get as far as winning. So we're going to set the score to 2500, clear screen and go to 56. Get ready for action. Nyden, Munkefjord, Hesseng. Here's Hesseng. We're so close. We're very nearly there. And we've done it. Well done. You made it all the way to Kirkenes and triumphed. Hooray! Praise St. Olaf. And again, the beautiful Norwegian flag. And this time, it's flashing. And I put the special go to 9999 just for Ponder. Thanks for watching.